Thanks for joining us for the February 24th, 2023 episode of Den Excelsior, the Mostly Marvel podcast. I'm Dennis, and I'll be your host as we recap the latest super news that caught your attention, our attention across the multiverse. But as the show title suggests, it'll probably be mostly Marvel related. Later in the episode, we'll be putting a spotlight on Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. But before that, we'll get into some news and Q&A with our guest. And just as a heads up, if you can't get enough of us, you should visit patreon.com/GenXmedia, where you can find a variety of creative offerings, including recent episodes of our live after show, The Soapbox, or Cracking Snap with Dennis and Chi. All kinds of stuff going on there. Patrons get exclusive access to chat with us live in The Soapbox, which we'll be recording tonight live. And if that's not your thing, though, don't worry. We release them to the public at a later time. Okay, formalities are all out of the way now. I'm going to get everyone out here so that they can join me in my state of non-sobriety. First up, is he the Cassie to my Hank? It's Ricky.
Right? Am I your Cassie?
I feel like when I was writing it, I was like, to my Scott, and I'm like, ew, no. I was like, I like the distance between a Hank and a Cassie.
Yeah, I mean, in for those of you who don't know, we're related, but I really honestly can never remember how we're related. Like, are you
through
my
your mother? Through your mother.
Are you my uncle or are you my cousin?
So, well, hey, it's not one of those situations. It's not. I'm not both. I'm not both.
I know it's not both. It's not an uncle cousin. It's an or.
I think it's a second cousin, or
okay.
cousin twice removed, or something.
I mean, we could.
Yeah. In any case, I was just kind of teeing up for the discussion later. We can get into that relationship more, but let's get our guest out here before we keep going. If you need someone to troll you with just endless Smash Mouth songs, look no further. It's Oliver.
Hello.
Please don't play Smash Mouth songs on this episode tonight. Don't do that.
I kind of like walking on the sun.
Don't do it. Don't even look at your phone. Don't do it. Welcome.
Hello. It's been a while. How are you guys doing?
It has been a while. I don't even remember the last time which episode it was. I think it was a Christmassy one. It was around Christmas.
End of 2 years ago? End of 2021?
Subject. Oh, you know what it was? Was it WandaVision or was it?
No, WandaVision was the first thing we ever did. You've definitely been on since.
Yeah, I have.
I should have checked. I probably could have checked. I probably still could check right now. But in any case, sorry it's been so long. I guess we just suck. No, but we're glad to have you back, really. What have you been up to lately as far as nerd stuff go?
I've just watched the only movies I've seen in theaters over the past 3 years were the Marvel movies. So
wow,
and Top Gun.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and you saw Top Gun also,
yeah,
right? Like that's
you didn't see Avatar in theaters?
Oh, actually, I did. I recently saw Avatar. So
okay, yeah, that's all the movies
like
you need to see.
Out,
yeah.
Now that we're like slowly creeping out, I've seen a few more movies, but but for those like 3 years,
I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Batman, Morbius, and Black Adam. I think those are the only extra ones besides what you just listed.
But all comic book ones, nonetheless.
Everything Everywhere All at Once is tangential.
Right.
It's produced by the guys who did Endgame, the Endgame
Russos.
So. Yes, the Russos.
And it has Short Round.
It does.
Yes.
who is in Loki season 2. That's her. We brought it back to Marvel.
Really?
Whoa, are you already spilling news?
That's been news.
I didn't know that.
Homie with that D23.
Well, I wasn't a D23, so I don't know.
I thought that was just about to be a really clever segue, but I guess not.
No. It got ruined.
No, it's old news.
Cool. Well, Ricky, what about you? What have you been nerding out
on? What have I been nerding out on? I was kind of sick this week. But Last of Us, of course, that show's great and continues to be great. And I think it's fun that it's been quite some time since I played that game. So where I remember the moments, but I don't remember the outcomes a lot.
You know that game came out 10 years ago?
Oh.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
You bought it for me 10 years ago, and I played it for 5 minutes and turned it off.
I worked on that game. I worked on that game 11 years ago. Like,
so,
that's pretty crazy.
Don't spoil it for me.
So
honestly, 11 years is long enough for me to remember or forget some of the details too. So
for like those that don't know me, I hate stealth in games, and so Dennis worked on this game, and he was nice enough to send me a free copy, and I popped it in. I read the reviews, and everyone's like, "Oh, this game's amazing!" And it just starts off sneak around these guards, and I was like, "Fuck!" And played for like 5 minutes. I failed, and then I turned it off and never turned it on again. So,
thank God that was free.
It's better when you get the free games and you give them to people and you don't know how far they ever got. But I will say that it is true though. Like most free games, I value way less, like significantly less.
Yeah.
Like if they were given to me rather than I went to the trouble of going to buy it in the store or something like that.
I single-handedly supplied all of my local GameStops used PSP games from you.
I don't need to know that. Thanks. I just got done saying I don't need to know that, but it's okay. What are you playing right now, Oliver?
I'm finishing up Final Fantasy 15. I fixed my camera so I'm not like a foot shorter than you guys now. It was like it's finishing up Final Fantasy 15. I'm at the last chapter, so kind of went back to see if I still had an appetite for JRPGs. It's been a long time.
It's an acquired taste.
Well, I played the shit out of all the classics, obviously. And so it's been a hot minute, but with 16 coming out soon, I wanted to see if I still had it in me, and I'm enjoying myself. So yeah, probably get it.
Nice.
How about you, Dennis? Anything fun past week?
I play so much Marvel Snap, it's ridiculous.
That too.
That's play that too
good.
much. Yeah. Other than that, I told you about it last week, but like my wife and I are currently addicted to Perfect Match on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It is super, super just guilty pleasure show.
What's the synopsis here?
It's all the Netflix reality celebrities that are single come together on one show to try and date each other.
I will watch this.
It's so good.
I will watch this.
So good, and they've only
10-minute segment on Perfect Match.
They've been dripping 4 episodes a week, so there's only 8 so far. The last 4 are next week.
My question,
Tuesday, I think Tuesday.
My question is: are there any contestants from that autism dating show?
That's a Hulu one, I think.
No.
Oh no,
Love,
you're
Love
right.
on the Spectrum. Netflix. Love on the Spectrum.
It is. You're right. No, I meant more mostly it's the. So no, the answer is no to that.
The dumb vapid.
Mostly
ones.
it's the game show ones, or the I'm going on here to find my soulmate ones. But no, none from the Life on the Spectrum. Love on the Spectrum.
Love on the Spectrum.
Love on the Spectrum. Yeah.
So like Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. The Circle. What is the other? Oh, Too Hot to Handle.
Oh yes.
Is
that the one where they get money taken away for sex?
Yes. The Mole, which we ended up going down that rabbit hole after I talked to you, Ricky. We binged all of The Mole over the week. That show's pretty good too. If you've never seen it, it's pretty good. It's basically like an escape room fans' wet dream. Like it's just like every episode is just a group of people trying to solve a puzzle, like try to solve like big, cool, elaborate puzzles, like a spy or something like that. But then one of the members is actually a paid mole that's there to sabotage your experience, and they have to every episode they have to guess or they have to vote for who they think
No,
is.
it's like a big game of werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but the difference is they don't vote to eliminate somebody. Instead, what they do is they fill out a survey, and whoever gets the survey the most wrong gets ejected. So they never get to know
Who the person, the mole is.
yeah, who the person is ever until the very end of the show.
That's smart.
Now,
So,
why are mole people in this dating show?
Because they need love too. It's just anybody who happens to be famous from those shows and is single and looking to mingle kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's hosted by Nick Lachey also.
Nice.
So like half of the cast is like, hey, it's Nick. And the other half is like, whoa, it's Nick Lachey. You know, like it's pretty funny. You need to watch that show. It is hot garbage.
Oh, I can imagine because like all the other shows are already hot garbage.
The Circle is pretty good though. I think The Circle is pretty good.
This is like the Voltron of hot garbage, right?
It is the
Voltron. We gotta fill out everyone's contracts and just give them an extra few episodes.
But Oliver, you have to watch it because every night there's only like a set number of rooms, and they have to match up and go to a room before they're the last two, because whoever's the last two of the night, they just leave. So like, and it's all every other night they add 2 men, and every other night they add 2 women. So it's an imbalance of either, and then they're just like, good luck. And then it's like literally being at a bar as it gets to closing time, and you're just seeing the last few people that have still not found somebody to go home with. It is tragic. It's so funny, man. You got to watch it. Anyways, this portion of the show was sponsored by
The Mole.
Love on
Netflix.
Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah, we each have a different one. No, it was not sponsored by that. Okay.
I've seen all the seasons, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, awesome. I've watched both seasons of Love on the Spectrum.
This all sounds like something we should talk about in the soapbox later. But we do have nerdy stuff to talk about related to Marvel and everything, because that's kind of what we do the show for. The other thing we do is, get drunk and hang out on a Friday night. So let's pretend to have a show. Ricky, why don't you do your thing?
Okay. This is a bit of news Dennis made me aware of about an hour ago. For all of us cool Marvel Unlimited subscribers, we're getting a little X-Men Zoom call. The 60th anniversary of the X-Men, and they're doing a little Zoom chat. What are they? Are they just little panels?
It's kind of like getting a bunch of Comic-Con panels all at once on a specific topic. If it's anything like the one they did for Deadpool, I think like a year or two ago, Rob Liefeld is going to be at this one just like he was at the other one. They don't allow if you want to ask a question, you submit it like a few weeks in advance, and they vet it. So you can't just spam hate on
Is there a chat?
No, there's no.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just going to be an event that they'll just take you through the years of X-Men, and then they might, for people who are Marvel insiders as well, they might give you a code to go and redeem something on Insider.
Get a weird NFT.
You might get a weird NFT. It's possible. It's very possible. But yeah, if you're a subscriber to Marvel Unlimited, check it out.
Cool. This bit of news, probably my favorite news of the week. Rogers, the musical, the fake musical from was it Hawkeye,
Oh my God.
is coming to Disneyland California Adventure. It will be taking place of Frozen, it's a Hyperion Theater, the one inside the park.
Yeah.
But they're going to do starting this summer, you'll be able to see a condensed version of Rogers the musical.
Wait. A condensed version?
Condensed, or they used the phrasing in the press release. It's a one act play. How about that?
Okay.
So
Cool. Are you excited, Oliver?
No. No. I mean, I love musicals, but it was purposely corny as heck, but the songs weren't even catchy.
it was the song, but right?
It wasn't catchy. It wasn't catchy.
I mean, I just
like
think it's weird.
Like the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, those are joke songs, but those songs are catchy as heck, right? Like,
yeah, I'm gonna play those. I'm gonna play that thing every year.
I just think, I mean, it's like the MCU's 9/11, and then there's like a very upbeat musical about the situation.
In my head, the Simpsons, the Dr. Zaius, that's what's going through my head.
I get you. I'm beginning to wonder if it was their 9/11. Like, I kind of feel like the snap is the MCU.
Probably the new. I mean, yeah, you're talking crazy events. Yes, the snap was.
Yeah,
but at the time, this was
sure.
I guess by that logic, yes. In hindsight, this would seem like a cakewalk compared to the snap in that universe.
Yeah, I think the snap is. I don't think we need to see something bigger than the snap for a while, because it makes the snap that special. And I want kids to grow up with the snap, knowing how tragic it was.
Did we just downgrade it to Oklahoma City?
Yeah, we did.
So bad.
Speaking of bad, you can get a kind of rough-looking Kang, or you can find a rough-looking Kang at Avengers Campus starting now. And as a tie-in for the Ant-Man,
Kang, huh?
I think he looks weird. I just think the costume looks much better on screen.
Well, he looks too bulky. He's not buff. He's just drank too much.
And and he needs the helmet. Make the helmet work. I don't know how you do it, but make the helmet work.
But they going cheap, bro. They going cheap.
But it's not cheap. That little thing on the bottom, that's a drink holder modeled after the ooze container from Quantumania. So all you collectors out there can go pick one up for $20.
Jeez.
There was an ooze container?
Yeah, there was, but we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that.
That looks like the Aether from Thor 2 or whatever
the
it was.
Ether, the Ether.
Well, this guy doesn't look like the Ether. Yes, Steven Yeun will be in the Thunderbolts movie. He was cast, reported by our friends at Deadline. But yeah, he will be.
He better be cool.
Prominently in Thunderbolts.
Okay.
Throw me characters.
Jubilee.
I think you can gender swap Jubilee. That'd be kind of cool.
There's so many characters in the Thunderbolts that just don't matter. Like their backgrounds are so nebulous that you could just he could be any of them. It's fine. I don't really care which Thunderbolt he is. I don't think he is a Thunderbolt. I think he's going to be
throwing around Amadeus Cho. He's the biggie because his mom's in Ultron, right? Is it, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, Amadeus Cho's mom is in Age of Ultron. That would be interesting if he's Amadeus Cho. He eventually becomes a Hulk. So that'd be cool, I guess. Sure.
Can you enlighten this filthy casual on the Thunderbolts? Just 2 sentences.
The Thunderbolts is like
Marvel's
the Suicide Squad, but
instead of Amanda Waller, it's General Thunderbolt Ross who's in charge, right?
I would. It's not always Thunderbolt Ross. Like it's been different people throughout the comics, but this is not a correct. Let me do it. Let me do it.
We're out of sentences.
No, because you jumped in on my sentences. So the Suicide Squad is its own thing. What the Thunderbolts is it's a superhero team of superheroes that were former villains, right?
Right.
But the trick, the conceit is it's superheroes pretending to be, or supervillains pretending to be superheroes to win them over. Some actually eventually like the gig, and some have their own ulteriors. But the real leader of the Thunderbolts in the comics was Baron Zemo. And so a lot of people are really like still wondering, yeah, that's cute. You want to announce Steve Ewan? Okay, cool. I'm waiting for you to tell me that Baron Zemo is in this movie because they have not announced that yet. And that's the problem.
Just working out that contract.
We need Zemo because Zemo's whole deal is he forms the Thunderbolts, but under different aliases with masks and stuff. And they're like, woo, we're superheroes. And then all of a sudden, the reveal happens at a certain point.
Wait, so they're pretending to be superheroes?
Yes. It's different. It's not the Suicide Squad.
Like, but when you say
the Suicide Squad is forced at gunpoint to go and do heroic things.
Right. So are they doing superhero missions, or are they doing
yes,
bad
they
things?
are doing superhero missions, but Zemo has secret plans for why he's doing this.
Got it. Okay. So they're doing good things, but there's an ulterior motive behind it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. That was 2 sentences, right?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, on its third sentence, we got Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel Legends figures.
Did you Photoshop Drax in? What's the deal with that box?
Somebody did. I didn't Photoshop it, but yes. The new there's a new wave of Marvel Legends that got dropped this week, and I know some people get mad, but the Build-A-Figure is that dog over on the right, Cosmo. It's pretty small for a Build-A-Figure, but I think the thing that excited me the most about this, and I honestly almost like teared up from this and the trailer, it's a superhero team all wearing the same damn uniform. How hard is that to pull off in movies, man? Like, the X-Men have done it, but they did it all wrong. They did it weird, but this is the actual like Guardians of the Galaxy uniform in the comics. Don't ask me why Kraglin is still wearing his old outfit.
God, he sucks so bad.
Why does he suck?
I just don't like him. He looks dirty.
Do you wish
dirty?
Do you wish it was Harry Styles instead of Adam Poulter?
No. Harry Styles is another character.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's in the Eternals.
He's in the Eternals.
Spoilers.
He's playing Thanos' brother or adopted
Star Fox.
Arrow/Star Fox. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do a better role.
Anyways, so that's Cosmo, the space dog.
It is cool that it can sit down though. That's kind of a cool.
Oh man, that's a super posable dog. And I don't know if you noticed that the Rocket figure had bendable knees too, which is something they've never done on a Rocket. So pretty cool. And then there's also a deluxe Groot figure. I guess this is Groot's new final form, his giant hulking mass.
Like the shade of a Tootsie Roll.
I mean, yeah, he is. He is. I think it's a pretty cool figure. A lot of dynamic posing you can do, like alternate hands, a baby Rocket figure for him to hold. I don't know if that's a spoiler. And then, today was announced just another figure coming out. Power Man. This is classic 1970s Luke Cage. That figure looks freaking awesome because of the deep cut on that shirt. Or that blouse. Is that a blouse? I guess it's a blouse, right?
Yeah.
The deepest of V-necks.
That is the deepest. That is an amazing looking figure. It's so funny. I don't know. It's supposed to come out later this year. It's rumored there's going to be a Marvel Knights wave. Who knows?
What sculpt is that body on?
I think that's the newer, beefier sculpt that we recently got on Walgreens Sentry figure, and I think there's
he's a thick boy. He's got he's stockier.
It's a medium-sized build, and by medium I mean on the scale of superhero to Hulk is what I mean medium. That's what the figure bodies look like.
It's a Rob Liefeld Captain America.
Yeah, there you go. No, I actually do. They did have a mold before that did create the chest that was similar to Rob Liefeld Captain America's, and everybody hated that. There's an other Luke Cage figure on that body, so I think that's why everybody's excited about this one, because it actually has normal human proportions for a superhero rather than whatever Rob Liefeld draws. Yeah.
Breasts.
Yes, breasts. But yeah, that's all the Marvel Legends. For this week. I mean, seriously, they have a fan stream next week, by the way, on the 1st. Like, these guys don't stop, man. This is like 3 weeks in a row. I think I've been covering stuff that they've been announcing.
It feels like it's been like 10 toys a month so far.
Something like that. But to be fair, they don't all come out in the same month. You know what I mean? They front load all of their orders in the beginning of the year. And then like you get all this stuff in like August through November and stuff. It's weird. But anyways, I don't have anything else on the news. Do you?
No news, just questions.
Wow, I was gonna just see if Oliver had any news first before we jumped into it. But
I mean, you say we had that document beforehand where you put that stuff.
There's a document?
Right?
Am I supposed to be reading some show notes right now?
No. There's no document for you. It's just us. We just write a bunch of stuff about you.
Yeah.
And then decide. We vote. We vote on a lot of things. No, but since we're doing the trivia, Oliver, I've pulled together some questions that may have been prepared for you or may generically be for all of us. Why don't we find out? Here we go. At Anna Hackwin writes, what's your most useless piece of trivia?
Regarding nerd stuff or just in general?
I don't know.
Oh my God. This is hard. Like, it's one of those things. I've been hosting trivia for like 13 years, so I have so much useless trivia. It's like
what's the most useless?
Generally, it's all useless.
Like, define useless. Like, useless in the sense that everyone knows it?
No, useless in like you'll never need to know that.
Or you'll never, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it'll never come up. Like wombats have square-shaped poop, like that kind of thing,
Is that the most useless?
No, okay. But I'll have to stew on that a little bit.
All right, stew on it. I caught you off guard. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. What about you, Ricky?
I work at the zoo, so I know a lot of dumb animal facts. Tape here has a prehensile penis, so they can grab and move stuff with their junk.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
That's pretty freaking awesome. I don't know if that's useless. I feel like that's really useful.
I mean, the grip strength isn't there. Let's be clear. You're just prodding, so.
All right. Fair enough. We don't need to go any further into that bit. I would say if I had to answer this question, it would be the amount of storage in my brain for all the different names of characters that I have, in there, but more specifically, because I like my superheroes, I like my cartoons and stuff like that, but it's the amount of storage I've allocated to Pokemon names just by virtue of living with someone who was obsessed with those things. I know way too many Pokemon names, and I hate it. I hate that I know that.
Is that Vince?
Yeah. He had a poster with all of the original ones on his wall, so I couldn't help but know them.
So when you were sleeping together, you'd have to look up and
yeah, exactly. He by wall I mean on his ceiling. Yeah, exactly. There you go. All right. At Vladdy P Funk writes, Oliver, how drunk are you right now?
A, who's Vladdy P Funk? I'm on a scale of like 1 to 10. I'm probably like a 1, but because I'm just coming out of well, it's end of February, but I did dry January, and then I've just kind of like kept it like pretty low key since then. So yeah, I like, but you know, I'm one of these
young.
One of these deep. Right? And then I got a little glass of whiskey here. So Dennis told me to get drunk.
You're ready to party.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you got to. That question is prompting you to keep going right now. Keep drinking.
Is Vladdy P Funk even a real person? I'm gonna look them up on Twitter right now.
I don't know. And
then don't do that.
At Dikembe, what's your least favorite MCU project?
WandaVision. Hello.
Wait, why didn't
tell us why? Tell us why.
I like in just general media, in reading books or movies, I don't like dream states, like parts of the story that are conveyed in dream, or like stories that go into a dream, because ultimately it means nothing. Dreams are of no consequence, right? So all those
you
little
hated Inception.
What? No, those all were. What are you talking about?
Inception's all dreams. It's the whole movie's a dream state.
Well, but they were inducing dreams in order to get information, and that, I mean, there was a point to but
Wanda was inducing dream states too.
Yeah, but like
we're gonna break up this hate.
All those sitcom pieces, like none of them had to do with the actual story. Then I was like, oh, does this really mean this is going on? Or they never really translated to anything. Like you could have taken out all of those
definitely
sitcom pieces, and the story wouldn't change at all. Wouldn't have changed at all. You know what I mean?
So it doesn't excite you that Deborah Jo Rupp is reprising her role in the Agatha show?
Is that Agatha?
No, it's Kitty from that 70s show, who played the boss's wife in the first episode of WandaVision, and the boss and the wife come over for dinner.
Right. The lobster, yeah. Sure. You know, but like it's all irrelevant. Like nothing, that whole lobster bit, and like nothing. I was like, oh, is there, if like later on a giant lobster monster came and like attacked this Westview, then okay, right? Like this becomes that. It's like Chekhov's gun. Like, yeah, it was just never taken off the wall.
I agree with you that all the TV shows were fun because we were trying to figure out how they related to something, but then they ended up just being a metaphor for her remembering fondly of the TV shows that her dad carried in a briefcase, right? So like it wasn't not any episode was actually like actively working towards the plot of the show.
I think it would have been really cool. Like it would have completely turned my opinion on its head if all those little sitcom pieces later on like came back and were like a part, and they all just kind of came together. That would have been really cool. But the fact that they were just there as a, you know, like you said, this is because in war-torn Sokovia, this is what you watched. It was like,
I still like the ship of the Theseus. I like Vision in that show. I thought he was pretty cool.
Yeah, Vision was good.
Yeah. What about you, Ricky? What's your least favorite
MCU thing? For a minute, it was definitely Iron Man 3, but
that movie is amazing. It's amazing.
Ant-Man 2?
Is that Mandarin?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ant-Man 2, or I don't even remember the subplot of that. Ant-Man and the Wasp. There you go.
Really? That's your least favorite, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't do anything for me. It was funny, but
Thor: The Dark World is pretty bad, man. Thor: The Dark World is a bad movie.
That's our first people's number one
Yeah.
lowest rated.
Well, there's a lot of people that now think Ragnarok's worse than the Dark World, and I'm like,
Ragnarok or the Love and Thunder?
sorry, Love and Thunder. I meant to say Love and Thunder. Yeah.
That was a pretty bad movie too.
I don't think that movie's bad. I think that movie.
I think Love and Thunder. I mean, I was talking to Colleen about it. We watched it together, and like we're in a place that I think similar to Taika Waititi, like as someone who is married, who's loved and lost, who has children. It hit a lot different than if I was a teenager and I watched that movie.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think that was my problem with it though. I would say like the
lack of soul that you have.
It's two very different movies. You get this like kind of hardcore comedy up until Jane reveals the Thor condition, and then
But I
it
don't
gets
think
like
those,
super
I don't
serious.
Think I don't think those are mutually independent. Honestly, I think some of the best comedies have really sad moments in them.
Yeah, but there's like a very like
so you can have the highs and the lows, you know.
Yeah, but it got silly. That movie's too silly.
As good as it gets.
I don't like silly Thor.
I like silly Thor. I like that this is him still working through his issues, right? Like he's choosing to ignore being a responsible adult, right? He was supposed to be king of Asgard and he gave it to Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is going through his midlife crisis right now. And I don't have a problem with that. Like I think that's a cool thing to explore is what does the midlife crisis of a freaking god look like, you know? And that's where he is. But by the end of it, he comes out of it and now he's chosen to be a father, right? So I think you're going to get a different Thor next time around, you know? So
is he still contracted to be Thor?
Yeah. I think he's still coming back.
No.
I think so.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't mind.
You probably get like 3 or 4 more appearances out of him, right?
I think he loves being Thor, dude.
I mean,
I don't think
he is Thor.
He is Thor, right?
Yeah,
like in the same way that Robert Downey is Iron Man and Chris Evans is Captain America. It's really hard to picture anybody else as those 3 characters. Good on them. But you know what? If we're listing those off, like I would say it's time to lead into the show we're going to talk about, because I do believe that it's hard for me to picture anybody as Ant-Man other than Paul Rudd. Yeah. We're putting the spotlight on Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. All right, I'm going to give some disclaimers here so that, you know, everybody's on the same page. We waited long enough, and by waited, I mean we actually we waited a week. Normally on the show, we talk about whatever hot movie or show is like right away. We just do it instantly, and I felt like I wanted to try something different where we're a little bit removed from it, give people enough time so that we're not spoiling it for 99% of the people who wanted to watch us. And so we gave it a week, right? But here's the other thing. All 3 of us actually did watch it last week. We have not gone back to rewatch it again since then. And our guest, Oliver, didn't even know he was going to be on the show until after he watched it. So this is no notes. This is no notes. This is us reviewing a movie and giving you fair warning that we're giving you spoiler warnings, but at the same time, our spoilers might even be wrong. They might be inaccurate. So yeah, I'm down to talk about this movie. I can give you a little like setup, so it's kind of a reminder. I got this one from IMDb. I had to edit it actually a little. Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne and Cassie Lang, explore the quantum realm where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. That is so dumb how many character names they had to list in that. It's dumb.
I wonder why because Quantumania is like their made up dumb word. Like I wonder.
Well, that's a joke in the second movie, right? In the second movie, he's like, I feel like you just put quantum in front of everything and make it a new word. So But what were you gonna say?
No, like they have like the Quantumania title. I just remember it being like just so weird when they announced it, and then just after this movie, it's still dumb. Like it's all dumb.
Yeah, but how much was your mind blown at the post, like after the movie ended, and then it said Ant-Man, and the letters came in, and it said
That was pretty cool,
Quantumania.
though.
I was
As
like,
the only character, that's all
Everybody
they can do
liked
it in.
that. I felt like that justified the stupid name of the movie.
absolutely.
100%. And I thought that was like the best joke of the movie that was the punchline at the end. It's like, look, it's Ant-Man.
That's like a next level Fast and the Furious, like, subtitle. You know what I mean? Like
it is.
yeah.
It's pretty great. And I think if you're going to do a third movie and you're not really sure what you should do the third movie on, just go all in on Quantumania. By the way, Zach is joining us tonight. He said, don't worry, I watched it twice for y'all. So there you go. Cool. Thanks for joining us. Quantumania was basically just, teased in the first and second Ant-Man movies. It was kind of set up at the end of the second one as, Scott went into the quantum realm to go collect quantum energy so they could bring it back and help restore Ghost's weird phasing problem, right? But then he got stuck there when the snap happened, and he was there for who knows how long until
he was there for 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes. You know how long. He was there for 30 minutes in quantum realm time before the Mickey Mouse was crawling around in the van in the storage lot and flipped the switch and turned the switch back on, and then thus begins the plot of Endgame, right? Or Endgame. So he missed the whole snap basically, and we never got a finished through line of what was the story with Janet in the quantum realm. What's in the quantum realm, because we get a lot of weird flashes of it in like the two Ant-Man movies, like so briefly you can't see things, and then it was kind of implied that the bureau I'm trying to remember that the timekeepers in the TVA, sorry, the TVA, the Time Variance Authority in Loki, may be existing in the quantum realm. I'm not sure, because it's a place that exists outside of time, correct?
Quantum realm exists out of time, yeah.
And that's what they've said about the TVA as well. So, but we got to see a lot of it in this movie, and I'm not even sure how much of it we saw. I'm not even sure if there's like way more that we didn't get to see or whatever, but like it was all bonkers. Like it was just, I mean, what did you guys think of it? Like, was there anything in the quantum realm that you really enjoyed seeing?
Well, going before that, the previews kind of didn't misrepresent the movie, but it made it seem like the plot was like Scott was doing all these things because I lost so much time with Cassie. I'm doing this to get my time back with Cassie, but that wasn't the plot of the movie at all.
It wasn't the plot of the movie at all. It was basically a zany Honey, I Shrunk the Kids moment where Cassie was doing an experiment to find out, to map the quantum realm, right? That's what she wanted to do. She wanted to learn more about it. Cassie is now played by Catherine Newton in this movie, who replaced Emma Furman, I believe. She played her in the last movie, and that girl replaced the young girl from the other two movies. Anyways, Cassie is a super genius who studied Grandpa Hank's journals. I'm not sure how he's actually her grandpa, unless
his step grandpa.
Are they married? I don't know. Like they never actually say. Are Hope and Scott married?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Well, she just likes calling him Grandpa Hank. Anyway, she uses his notes, makes a device, and they're going to reveal it to mom or to grandma. And grandma freaks out because she's like, wait, are you sending a signal there right now? Turn it off. She turns it off. And then all of a sudden something happens and the entire cast that they've chosen to use for this movie gets sucked in back
Quantum
all the way
realm,
back
yeah.
down, going subatomic, just like they did in the other movies. But the only difference is this time it's not done through pin particles, and that is the lazy justification for why none of the actors ever have to wear helmets or masks through the whole movie, so they can just be maskless, and that really annoyed me. And I don't know how you guys felt about that.
I mean, it's just one bonkers thing to another. But like, to be honest, like I do appreciate that movie how quickly that movie goes, in the sense that like they kind of get him, here's back where here's what Ant-Man's doing today, and then 5 minutes later they're in the quantum realm. But
Was it 5 minutes though?
Yeah, they literally do like the song sequence. They go
They
to
did a
Baskin
Baskin and the
Robbins,
Robbins bit.
and then you're in the quantum zone, baby.
Really? Okay.
They're in it. They get in it pretty quick.
But then after that, once they get to the quantum realm, it's like 30, 45 minutes of like delayed exposition where
Because Janet
Michelle Pfeiffer, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Michelle Pfeiffer
refuses to keep telling them what happened.
exactly.
In the quantum realm.
So like it was like every
That's like
5
the first
minutes,
thing
like
to say.
I can't tell you.
I can't
Or
tell
like,
you, Hank.
I'll tell you in a little bit. No, we have to go get them first. No, it's like, all right, we're waiting for the exposition, but they just keep bringing it up. And this exposition is going to happen.
And we're going to get a timeline soon, I think. But the MCU needs to tell us how far after the snap this movie takes place. But however long it is, she still has not told anybody about the quantum realm. And like they make it a point where they're like, hey, we made this thing without your help because you never want to talk about it. And it's like, dude, I feel like they took what could have been a potentially awesome character in Janet Van Dyne and they made her the most annoying trope ever. The character that has all the information that would be useful to the other characters, but refuses to use any of it the entire movie. Like,
right.
That annoyed me so much.
She also lost her powers? Didn't she have powers in...
She had powers in Ant-Man and the Wasp too. Yes. She like could touch things and fix them. And so I
gotta say though, I know there was probably a little digital smoothing going on, but she's looking good.
You said a little digital smoothing?
No,
a lot.
Pfeiffer looks great.
She looked amazing in the movie though.
Like, yeah, she did look good. She looked good in the movie. I just couldn't stop asking myself, is this a visual effect like everything else I'm watching in this movie?
Like every movie you see now with the new Indiana Jones trailer, and it's like younger Harrison Ford as himself.
Yeah, exactly. The de-aging. Well, that's a lot of the Ant-Man movies is using the de-aging. Like the first one has a whole scene with Michael Douglas de-aged, and then Peggy Carter is aged up, and like it's all this funny stuff. And then I think they do another flashback scene in the second one where you get Michelle Pfeiffer and Hank Pym de-aged as well. Hank Pym. See what I did there? I meant Michael Douglas. I think that speaks to something like, so if we're going to talk about just how annoying Janet was in the movie, can I just take a moment to tell you guys like the exact opposite? I think Hank Pym was the only time in this movie that I felt like I had a soul. Like he made me
He's pretty good.
He made me almost tear up how freaking Ant-Man he was in that movie. It was cool, man. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, like when he in terms of character, or like what he did in the movie, like
that
whole ant thing is pretty incredible.
That character is the only character in the Ant-Man movies that is continuously holding down the ant theme of the moniker, right? Like nothing else Ant-Man does is ant related at all. But Hank Pym refuses to let it go.
Got to keep that patent.
They exploded on such an epic scale at the end when he just comes through to save everybody. I know we're skipping way ahead, but he has amassed an army of sentient, like super high-tech ants that were his ants that got sent here and they lived like entire multiple lifetimes. I forget how many
Like
generations did they
10
live?
centuries, what they said?
Yeah, they lived 10 centuries before he found them, right? But they're his ants. And I thought that was one of the most coolest parts of the movie, is just like glossing over that Rick and Morty style. But then, yeah, he just shows up to save the day, just walking in with a massive amount of ants. And I'm just like,
I mean, it was his hero's moment, because like in the other ones, he's always complaining. He seems always upset. He's not really helping. He's
yeah,
just
exactly.
kind of
And I think that's
fodder. But this was like his moment, his real MCU moment.
I think he got paid off from the previous two movies, right? Like his character finally got that moment. And so I thought it was really cool that this was the character that was getting an arc, because I don't know. Like, do you like the how did you guys feel about the arcs of the other characters?
What arcs?
Exactly.
Well,
you know what I noticed was
the inverse to Hank. You got MODOK, and I
MODOK
really
did have an arc. He had a full arc
to uplift the. I don't want to just dunk on the movie, but his arc is because he's a perfect MODOK for the MCU in terms of his character development, where he was at, and for him to touch base with Scott again, with Wasp and Janet, or not Janet, but Hank, and you kind of, it brings you back to Ant-Man 1, where like it wasn't so, how would I say, like silly, or Ant-Man 1 had a charm and a silliness to it, where this movie was trying to be sometimes Endgame.
This movie is
sometimes
trying to be Star Wars. This movie is trying to be Star Wars. Am I wrong? Did you guys not feel like it was like,
yeah, when they went to the cantina, I was like,
you saw all the action figures you can get.
I was like, all right, the direction here is make Tatooine, but don't copy any of the like aliens, right? It's like the same aliens, but like different.
Yeah. It as soon as they arrived, but even before they ever got there, I was just like, oh wow, as soon as we got to the quantum realm, it was just constant green screen. Like you could just feel the entire, like, there was no more need to design sets, in this movie. There's not a lot of like actually like cool sets. Like, I don't know, like in Loki, it just felt like Loki, we got a lot more actual built, structures and stuff. But for this movie, it just felt like it was all just a magical visual effect that we were staring at. And it kept I kept getting pulled out of the movie the whole time, because I kept thinking about my trauma from watching The Phantom Menace, and how, like, at least with The Phantom Menace, I had those blinders on that let me just enjoy the Star Warsness of it.
No,
but this,
I wasn't your Ant-Man blinders.
I wasn't enjoying the Ant-Man of it, because it felt very disconnected from the other two movies, right? Like it just didn't, like, it felt comic booky, but in not ways that were meaningful to me, I guess.
It's like you read a bunch of Ant-Man from the 60s, and you pick up an Ant-Man from like the 90s, and yeah, they're the same Ant-Man, but one's chipper and one's dark and edgy.
Yeah, it's like that. I think that's what happened. Yeah. I did back on the MODOK conversation for a second. Like, according to the screenwriter, Jeff Loveness, apparently the MCU incarnation of MODOK was influenced by Kevin Kline's portrayal of Otto from A Fish Called Wanda, and Frank Grimes from the classic Simpsons episode Homer's Enemy. And I think that description perfectly nails this character on the head. Like, that's actually, I see it. But man, that face.
Is this an actual poster?
Yeah, came out today.
Okay, because I was like, I thought it was like supposed to be like a surprise. You know what I mean?
It was for the first week, but yeah, they always release like character posters a week after any MCU thing comes out. Oh my God, that face.
That's a shiny dome.
I know. You know what's funny about this? Like, when I first saw this thing, I did not know what to think about it, but the kids behind me at the theater, oh my goodness,
Well, because
they were
they went
dying.
with the dumbness of it, right? It's a change. Like I think upset a lot of people because then people want this like super murder bot
Disfigured.
MODOK, yeah, or you get the dumb silly dude because he is.
Yeah. But here's the thing though, like as crazy as I thrown off as I was when I first saw this character, the more and more I watched it, the more I studied it, the more I looked at it, and aside from the bald head, that is the most accurate freaking representation of a live action MODOK I could ever look at. It just the smile is weird, right? Because he's so happy looking. Like that's I think, but like that suit is 100% MODOK, which is totally different from the thing they showed in Comic-Con trailers last year. Like they've
They did the face
completely
shield thing.
Do you have a picture of that somewhere?
no, but not just the face shield thing. It's a completely different design. You can find the old MODOKs. Yeah, we'll find the picture for you in a bit. But he looked very different in the original promotional trailers and stuff. But anyways, I don't know. What do you guys think about this character? Like, were you enjoying it, or were you just like taken aback by this?
I mean, the whole thing was so outlandish. It didn't really faze me. Like, I never knew. I never read any comics with MODOK in it. I always thought he looked really dumb. Like comic wise, he looked stupid. I thought the that cartoon that came out, that animated type.
Oh, the
clay
yeah, Pat Oswalt one.
Yeah.
MODOK shop.
Yeah, I thought that looked cool. Like I was like, that looks like a cool MODOK, right? Like as MODOKs go, like aesthetically. And this one was silly, but I was in for it.
Yeah.
No, he really sold the show for me.
Yeah, the show looked cool. I thought the show looked cool, like the aesthetics of the show, and he totally fit in. In terms of this, I was like, okay, we're in the quantum realm.
For sure. But when you get to see his whole origin story in this movie, right? Like you get
the baby butt.
Yeah, he gets his origin. Then he gets like his call to adventure. Then he has the revelation at a certain point in the story, and then he ends up turning to, kind of
he
become a
saves the
hero.
day. He dies an Avenger,
right? And that's a full ass arc that this character got. But I challenge you to tell me what Kang's deal is.
He wants the time juice to make his time machine motors small.
Right? He wants all the other Kangs are messing up the all the timelines, and he wants to make the master timeline. I don't know.
I felt like the most frustrating thing about this Kang is just like the Kang that you got in the Loki. This was another not really Kang. You know what I mean? Like this was
Depends how you look at it.
I mean,
so tell me about Kang. Like
Kang is a time traveler from the 31st century that has so much technology that he can do whatever, right? But like you have to have he usually just pulls like guns out from different time periods and stuff like that. He has a lot of access to time stuff, and that's what he does. He does lots of time shenanigans and stuff like that. In this movie, you get a Kang that never does time stuff ever, and then dies at the end of the movie.
The time stuff makes sense because is the time stuff the chair, or is the time stuff like his inherent power?
It's like it's in his suit. I don't believe it's in in the chair itself. But like, they gave you a Kang that doesn't do Kang shit. And that was really weird to me. Like, he says Kang shit, he acts like a Kang, like, but like, they don't want to, because this is the first of many instances we're going to see of Kang. Even at the end of the movie, right, in the post credits, it says Kang will return. It doesn't say Ant-Man will return or MODOK will return. That movie was a giant setup for a larger Kang story, right?
King appetizer.
But the problem is, it was an appetizer that had no depth to it, right? Was Jonathan Majors super good at
Telling
it?
me this ain't no bloomin' onion?
I'm telling you, there's an onion, but they won't let us get through the layers. There are layers to Kang, right? But so this character that we got in the movie was weird to me, because as somebody who reads him in the comics, I was like, so we're just gonna have an entire story with Kang where he doesn't do time shit, because that's weird. I just kind of thought we were gonna do like anything related to time at all in this movie, because that's Kang's thing. And I kind of assumed that like Kang would have beef with somebody about all the time shenanigans they pulled in Endgame, right? And we got a glimpse at a Kang in at the end of Loki, right? Which is also a time shenanigans show. So it was just really weird to me that like there's all this time travel that's been happening in the MCU, and then we get a story in the MCU with Kang that has no time travel at all.
He made it seem like
he's experienced multiple times, right?
Yeah, like he has done so much time stuff that all the time shenanigans that have happened so far gave me an impression that it was like small potatoes, like it didn't affect anything. It was like,
yeah,
all the other Kangs.
It's how you feel about the What If show, right? It doesn't affect anything unless it does, right? Yeah. And I know that they will retroactively make this story better, because this is clearly chapter 1, right? But I just feel like movie 101 would say, make this villain compelling and relatable in some way. And I don't know what his motives are, other than I need to get back, because maybe the other ones are bad or he's the bad one. Like, it's all perspective, right? But when he dies at the end of the movie, then you're like, okay, so I guess the next time I see a Kang, it's going to be a different one.
It did kind of seem like the setup was going to be, yeah, he's bad, but he's doing it for an ultimate good. But then nothing came of that, right? Like,
yes. Like he's just bad for the sake of being bad.
Right.
But when he was like introducing the thing with the timelines and that visual, he was like, I have to. They're making a mess, and I have to like correct it. Yeah. But then that didn't come to fruition, or didn't become a major through plot line going forward.
Exactly. Right. So it made it really weird for me, because I wanted to like this movie because it had some, it had a lot of potential going in. But what we got was just a zany adventure to like free, the rebels from the empire of Kang.
Oh, God. You want to run through real quick? Look at all these cool toys.
These characters that we haven't, that aren't toys yet. Yeah.
Cheaty.
I know. I was excited when I saw him, and then I didn't care at all about his character.
He just wanted that Marvel credit on IMDb.
I guess, yeah. MODOK, best character in the whole damn movie, other than Hank Pym. Who is this one?
Is this did she play the Mummy?
No.
No.
No?
She's not the Mummy from Tom Cruise?
No, but she was in an episode of The Mandalorian, I remember.
Maybe I was like, this girl is so familiar. I couldn't put my finger on it though. I didn't bother to look it up. There's Andy's dude.
Was this Veb? Was this the character Veb?
Yes, the ooze guy.
Yeah. So here's the weird part about this. And by the way, I do know that we do have people active in the audience. I'm sharing some, but Zach was also asking about the ending of the movie. Is like, wouldn't it have been better too if Scott and Hope were trapped
Oh,
where
100%.
there at the
We-
end rather
we-
than instantly saved?
We haven't got there at that was a dumb thing for me, but when we
Yeah.
get to the end.
That was pretty bad. But back to Veb. What was really weird about him is I didn't know until I saw in the credits he was voiced by David Damalchian, right? Which is weird because that guy played Kurt in the previous two movies alongside Ti and Michael Pena, who were like a really core part of the supporting cast of the Ant-Man
you're
movies.
getting Ti has legal problems right now. I don't think you're getting Ti in a movie.
I'm just saying we didn't even acknowledge them in any way at all. Agent Jimmy Woo has a cameo in this movie, and Michael Pena does not.
Yeah.
And that broke my heart. It broke my heart. But I guess, at least they got David Damascelian, or I can never say his name. They got him, but I didn't even know. I didn't even know it was him until the end of the movie, and that was weird to me. We last saw him as Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad, by the way.
That guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's in all the Ant-Man movies, but they just never let him do anything meaningful.
He's the one with the better agent, so you got another part.
I guess so. Yeah. But I don't know. I felt like it was weird to me that the only nods that we got to the old Ant-Man movies in this movie, which is kind of making it a trilogy, was the Baskin Robbins joke. And like, the fact that he loves his daughter and the bee guy, you know what I mean? But like, I just felt like it was weird how many elements were set up in the second movie that had no relevance to this movie at all, other than Quantum Realm. So it was just weird.
The Quantum Realm was the main character of the movie, if you know what I mean. Like,
it really was, right? Other than MODOK.
Right.
What
I think
else?
it'll age better though. I think 5 years from now, once everything's wrapped up for this phase, we're like, all right, there are some things in that movie that
This
work.
phase is not going to take 5 years.
What number movie are we in this phase?
31st, as in 31 flavors.
No, this phase.
This is phase 5, start of phase 5.
Right. This is number 1. Start of?
Yes, this is phase 5.
Mm-hmm.
So phase 4 was which one to which? Wakanda Forever is the
Black Widow all the way until Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
What was the last? Black Panther. Okay.
Yeah. No. Spider-Man No Way Home was Spider-Man.
What do you?
No Way Home.
Forever came out.
Spider-Man.
Last movie from phase 4.
Oh, the last movie from phase 4.
Yeah.
Movie, but you don't count. You don't count Werewolf by Night and all those other ones.
No, I count Black Panther because that was the last thing.
What about the Guardian special?
Yeah, but that didn't add anything to the.
We learned that Cosmo's hanging out with them.
I know, but I mean, in terms of the
and Kevin Bacon's part of the MCU.
He's in the MCU. I don't know.
He's in it.
Okay, so this is number 1, building towards Avengers, Kang, whatever it's called.
Kang Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Kang Dynasty. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought the beginning was like, whatever it was a couple movies ago, and I was like, like multiverse of madness, and I was like, all right, this is kind of like the start of nothingness. Like it's just this whole quantum weirdness.
It's like a sci-fi version of that movie.
A lot of people feel that phase 4 was all the start of nothingness, but yeah.
Okay. So this is the start
of more nothingness.
Well, I can see this because I thought like
the last big like moving point was probably Loki, I would say.
Right.
Yeah. So
you kind of saw where everything's going.
Here's the grim reality that this movie made me, realize I love comic books. I grew up reading them. They were a great source of inspiration for me, a great source of entertainment, a great source of stuff to like me to just obsess over. Uh, but I eventually broke away from reading them as regularly as I did, right? Because it just at a certain point, there's just a jumping off point where the stories no longer resonate to you. But that doesn't stop them from telling those stories forever and ever and ever. And I feel like the MCU will do that. It will exist forever and ever and ever. It's just going to keep going. And it's eventually going to get to the part where stories are easier to pick apart or they just don't feel relevant to you because they're recreating their comic book model in movie form and TV form. So I'm going to just keep enjoying the ride as long as I can. But I am seeing the cracks in that the stories can only get so epic. You know what I mean? Like they cannot. It's hard to keep upping the ante. You can. I'm impressed that they've upped the ante for 31 movies, man. But like, I don't know if I've enjoyed the upping of the ante for the last, I don't know, 7. Like,
We're getting a little bit of a derailment, right? Of the high praise the MCU's had for the past I'd say decade. I mean, the Phase 4 I don't think was beloved, but I don't people were picking it apart. But to your point, Dennis, yes, the wheels are squeaking on the MCU train right now.
yeah, but the wheels are only squeaking to certain people, right? Like the reality is like it's gonna keep going forever and ever and ever. It's gonna be like we're gonna be like 80, and they're still gonna be putting out movies. Kevin Feige will be long dead, and they'll still be putting out those movies. That'll still find a way to connect to Iron Man. They will always do it because they have built something that no one else has successfully done. And I think there's no reason that they ever have to stop. But we better be okay with the fact that these stories are not going to keep blowing our minds. If they ever did, I don't know. I think the last time my mind was blown was the Infinity War. Was it Infinity War? Is that the name of that was the name of that one, right?
Yeah,
Infinity,
yeah.
I think that was the last time. Other than that, I pretty much show up to see like key moments that really tell me that they got the character, they understood it, and they're like, look at how cool this looks. And for me, I was missing that for Ant-Man. Like, but I got it out of Hank Pym, who was the original Ant-Man. Like for me, I got a comic book real, made real in those few moments with him. Everything else was just like, what am I looking at? Like what when Ant-Man starts losing his mind and breaks off into a million meeseeks of himself, like like I felt so weird about that scene because it felt like when they were climbing on each other, as much as it was, giving a nod back to the ants, I think the Carpenter ants from the first movie,
Right.
how they worked together to do that. To me, I just felt like I was rewatching that scene in when Mysterio makes Spider-Man like hallucinate and he has to fight a bunch of Spider-Man. I was like, at some point, you're just doing this just to fill the screen with a bunch of really cool stuff that makes for great isolated art, but out of context or in context of the story, I'm like, what is this? Why am I watching this? I don't know.
They gotta sell those 3D tickets, man. That's what that sequence is for.
I guess that
think-
was for 3D.
Like, so you watch from the viewpoint of like a comic book like lore viewpoint, whereas like someone like me who's more casual, to me it's like, so like for me, like I don't watch sitcoms because there's no point to me. Like, yeah, laughing obviously, but like I now am stuck in this, the episodic arc of a season kind of thing, right? Like I don't watch shows unless it tells like a story and goes through this arc. And so to me,
Or perfect match.
we're like you're anyways. Well, yeah, exactly. It's this and that, right? And to me, like the end goal is something like Endgame, where there's going to be phase 5. I'm hoping to see like an arc. All these movies are episodes, very long episodes, in that it builds up into this really big culmination, just like it did with Endgame, right? Like, so episodes will be of varying quality, right? But they'll be really good ones. So as long as so I'll keep watching them because it's advancing this greater story. The last few movies were kind of those middle episodes, I feel like, that just are in there that don't really like push it forward. But I think if this is the start, okay, well, we're gonna see a gradual build up of Kang and this build up, and we'll get a culmination. So I'm in it for the ride. In the long haul, beyond that, I don't know if they can keep upping the ante per se, but that's kind of like my motivation for watching. I find them entertaining, at a minimum, right? So they still keep me entertained.
I agree. I feel like, I'm getting a spectacle when I go watch them, and that's why
they're eye candy, right?
They're the only thing I go watch in theaters, pretty much, because I don't want to miss a chapter in the story. But I do feel like if I'm investing this much of my time into the story, I kind of hope that there actually is a story worth telling.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of annoying for a while now that like I keep holding my breath thinking, there's a story, but I'm like, but is there? Because when I watch this movie, I'm like, is there a story though? Like,
I think it's the start of a story, because like Black Widow and Wakanda Forever, those all kind of just felt like real standalones,
like tying up loose ends of the.
I feel like
phase.
The Black Panther, was tying up the biggest of loose ends.
Right.
But Black Panther actually did a lot to world build in that movie.
Sure.
Like it did some really cool, meaningful new changes or additions to the world that in the MCU, right? And you better believe that we're going to be seeing a lot more Namor and Atlanteans and whatever else is down there, right? It's cool. It's a cool setup. Do you think we're going to get more Quantum Realm? Is my question.
Well, even before, in the previous phase, the Quantum Realm was just more of the plot point that kind of brought it back, that allowed them to like fix it, right? Like,
I think you get more Quantum Realm though, for sure.
Really?
But
I don't know if I want to see more Quantum Realm.
Do I want to see more Quantum Realm? No. Do I think you're gonna see some more? Yes.
But isn't that a bummer that when we finally got it, we're just like, I don't want this. I don't want the Quantum Realm.
Well, because like with like Doctor Strange and Dormammu, it showed kind of like how big our universe is already, right? Like the magnitude of it. It brought, and then Guardians of the Galaxy, it explores the universe and like these worlds that we live in that like can tangibly be explored. And then once you get to the Quantum Realm and you introduce this other universe that's just as big as our reality, it loses. There's a disconnect there, because like it's no longer tangible. It's like with Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like, yeah, we can go to space theoretically and we can find these things, right? But then to have this whole other that same universe existing within the Quantum Realm, within a thing that we can't see, it like there's a disconnect there in terms of like tangibility,
Yeah, I kept wondering to myself, because as I kept watching Ant-Man grow big and then grow small, like, why don't you go even smaller to the other Quantum Realm? Like, I just
right. Yeah, right.
Like it just yeah, I just didn't understand what the limits or the rules of anything were. And that kind of goes back to Kang also, right? Like it was cool that he explained that he's got technology that way exceeds ours and stuff, but like I didn't understand like I didn't understand why he lost at the end of the movie
He
when
touched the thing. Come on.
when he was basically demonstrating abilities that are godlike, right? He like you couldn't touch that guy. Like nothing like he could get information out of anybody just by just moving his hand around and like Cassie would like get levitated and like she's like he's doing like force handling level 20, like way beyond anything Darth Vader ever did, right? And I'm like, okay, don't mess with this guy unless you got a giant army of ants. Like, as much as I loved Hank Pym coming to the rescue, I didn't understand why that worked. And it's because they didn't ever give me a definition of what Kang can and can't do. There was never like the MacGuffin, which is like, don't touch this thing on his suit because it powers everything. You know, like it's just like, yeah, his suit is powerful. And so then his suit gets broken for some reason. I didn't understand. And it just kept, there were so many moments like this in the movie that just kept pulling me out and saying, like, are you even going to try to tell me this story? Like, are you trying? Is this you trying now? Like that's how I felt.
It kind of goes back to like my previous discussion about the dream state. It's like you're in the quantum realm now. Like this whole other world of physics and possibilities is available, and it breaks reality because what are the rules now, right? Like if anything's possible, there's no there's a disconnect.
I've heard once before in a previous movie that time works different in the quantum realm. And yet we never got anything related to time in this whole movie. Sorry. That's the last time I will bitch about that. I was just so annoyed.
You're not wrong. I mean, from what they set up in prior movies, because in the end, right, they open a portal and get out. They were in the quantum realm for hours. So that by the movie or the MCU's own logic, they should be transported at least like 100 years into the future.
But I did think when they came back, it was going to be, some sort of different time, like Interstellar, right? Like,
yeah,
but
it didn't matter, right?
No,
They spent nights there. Like they were there for several days. And yeah, none of the rules made any sense at all. I'm going to stop ragging. I do want to go back to our fan in the audience who has been watching, Zach. He was mentioning what'll get him psyched about the MCU in the future is once we get mutants, it'll bring a big enough impact to the MCU, but feels super disjointed for the past couple of years. See, that's my thing though. I keep thinking that the next thing that they put out is going to make it better. I had a lot of expectations for Kang in this movie, and I don't know. Do I think Jonathan Majors was a super good actor? Yes. Do I think the writing for that character was good? No. I don't.
What did Zach mean by mutants? Once we get mutants,
the mutants, the X-Men are coming.
That's the rumor title of the X-Men movie.
It's called The Mutants. Is the new movie supposedly?
And
I mean, we got Atlanteans, so all that's really left is the X-Men, right?
Right.
Like the only other weird freaks of the universe, right? And then the X-Men have their whole other different subcultures
and you get
within them.
Inhumans again.
No, we're not getting no Inhumans ever again. But that's I understand, Zach. I'm just saying, like, maybe don't hold your breath for the mutants because, like, I think they're trying to tell you you're supposed to just be enjoying everything that we give you. And if you're not, maybe that's your time to jump off and play Marvel Snap or go read old comic books. Or
is X-Men going to be part of this phase?
Next phase, right? I think
kicking off, or
is it this? Is it this phase?
No, they haven't even announced a movie.
All we know is that Kamala Khan was officially confirmed to be the first mutant at the end of Miss Marvel.
Miss
Yeah.
Marvel.
Sorry, the first official mutant.
Mhm.
The implication they did mention Namor said he is a mutant as well
Mhm.
in that movie.
Are
So Namor is technically the first mutant.
have we not have mutants to this point?
Not confirmed. Like
They'll probably retcon
for
people.
example, the Ursa Major, the bear mutant, that character is in Black Widow. He's the prisoner that Red Guardian breaks his arm when they're arm
Mhm.
wrestling.
Yeah.
That's an actual character that in the comics is a mutant. And I remember the actor was going on Twitter saying like, I'm the first mutant in the MCU, you know, like, but who knows? We don't know. We have no confirmation yet of other mutants. They could just be hiding, or maybe Professor X is convincing the world that they don't exist. You know what I mean? That would be a pretty cool, easy way to work them in, right?
Remind me the difference between mutants and like people just born with are mutants are people born with superpowers, like humans that are
Oh, I think Ricky can do this now.
No, it makes no sense.
midichlorians?
Sure, it's the X gene. There is a specific gene
Okay.
that they carry, and they're either born with it
Right.
active or they're born with it dormant.
You know, I never made because I grew up with X-Men and I know about the X gene and the mutants and the search for mutants. I never put it together that everyone we've seen so far is of otherworldly power, of no power, or like gamma rays or something like that. I never put two and two
It's
together.
pretty
No,
grounded.
we have seen characters now, like in more recent stuff, that they just have powers, and some can't explain it and stuff like that. I think obviously you don't have to count Agents of Shield if you don't want to.
Count
But
She-Hulk. There's a lot of them in there.
What?
In She-Hulk.
Yes, in She-Hulk, that's where you got a lot.
But no one
right?
watched She-Hulk. Come on.
I think a lot of people watch She-Hulk just so they could hate on it, but I love that show, and I really appreciated that show was finally showing you that there is a much bigger universe of characters out there that may or may not have powers and may be public with them or not public with them, but yeah, I think there is a very giant world of characters to explore. I was kind of bummed that Ant-Man was giving us characters that I didn't want. Like I don't remember any of those characters from the comic. Other than that guy with the big giant metal eye, like I've seen him before in the comics and I cannot remember
I
what
thought
he is from.
I thought that was Destroyer just because I play Marvel
No.
Snap.
No, he's not Destroyer. This is a character I have seen in Jack Kirby style art, and I cannot for the life
Eye
of me
guy.
remember. What was that?
It's just the eye guy.
Yeah, but he dies. He gets ripped apart. Spoilers. And I was like, okay, I guess I don't get to care about him. And then MODOK dies, and then he's like, at least I died an Avenger. And I'm like, well, I cared about him. And then I wish like Zach was saying earlier, I wish that that sacrifice where Scott and Wasp go back, into the quantum realm to save everything. I wish that would have
meant something.
Yes.
Yeah. The fact that I was like Andy said too, like it was cheap. It was like, wait. 2 seconds later, like a portal opens, like it's supposed to be a sacrifice.
Mistakes.
The sacrifice of her coming back to save him should have been something. You know what I mean? Like they're stuck there until the next movie or whatever. But
until Cassie is now operating as Stature in the Young Avengers movie.
Is that who she is?
Yeah, she's Stature, which is a brand new Marvel Snap card that came out this week.
That's the only reason I know that name.
Yeah, Stature is from the Young Avengers comic, which is a really cool comic. Came out, I think, in like 2001, maybe earlier than that. But yeah, they've been setting up the Young Avengers throughout all of these movies for a while now. I was most excited about seeing Cassie in Ant-Man 1 because I was like, wow, they've got Cassie, but she's a little girl. They're gonna do this forever. But then they like fast forwarded and aged up the actress for the new replacement actresses, and I was like, okay, but they're still gonna do this forever. They're just not gonna, do it as long, or they're not gonna stretch it as much as I thought they would. But yeah, the I think, who do we have right now? We have Eli, aka what is it? Elijah. Sorry, Elijah is the grandson of the Black Captain America that was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Remember the original Captain America, the one that we found out was the secret test subject before Steve. He is featured briefly in that show, but he will become Patriot. We have
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop is another member of the Young Avengers. Wanda's children, Billy and Tommy. Yeah.
Then the Hulk's son.
Those no, the Hulk son is not a Young Avenger. He could be, but in the MCU, but he's not. Hulkling is a Skrull. Is a Skrull. So we're probably going to get him in Secret Invasion next next few months, something like that.
It's unannounced, but it's probably going to be made.
Yeah. So a lot of them are in there as they're basically legacy characters, from previous superheroes. But Iron Lad, I'm kind of spoiling this a little bit for people who haven't read Young Avengers, but Iron Lad is revealed actually to be Nathaniel Richards, aka A Kang. And so it's no coincidence that at the end of the movie, when you see three Kangs, one of them is playing a character called Immortus, one is playing Rama Tut, and the other is wearing clothing or like coloring that is very reminiscent of Iron Lad. So we may see him again as a younger version that's not Jonathan Majors, maybe played as a teenager Kang. But that's the whole thing. Like, Kang can be any age and any, because there's all these different variants of him that are operating at different ages in their lives. So we'll see. But yeah, that was me nerding out on the stuff that's been the seeds that have been planted. If it's any good, we'll see.
You think it's going to be a TV show?
The Young Avengers?
I think
That's a movie.
That's a movie for sure. I think you'll definitely see Kangs though, peppered in. You'll just see a random Kang variant here, there, each of the upcoming movies, and that would be for me a cool way to pull it all together. So once you finally do the Kang Dynasty movie, you already have that background built in.
Okay, but I don't know how much longer you guys will want to keep talking about this, but I did want to point out how weird it was that we got a mid credits and a post credits, and they were both Kang related. That was just like, is this even an Ant-Man story? I was kind of weirded out by that. It felt weird that I don't think I've ever seen an MCU movie where both scenes were actually feeding into the same thing.
It's been a minute for sure,
right?
But it was welcome. I dug it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I really did like the post. All things aside, I did like the post credit thing because it just expanded on that Kang story more so than what the movie gave you. So it was nice to see that forward progress, at least somewhere in the story.
Gotcha. I meant to mention, apparently the guy the version of Nathaniel Richards that is Iron Lad is also Reed's father.
Yeah, it wasn't Nathaniel Richards Reed's father.
I think he's also the great something. You know what I mean?
Depends on how
So
you
it's
look at it.
yeah. So it's like both. No, I mean like grandson. He's also like
Yeah.
great. But yeah. But any case, I do think it's cool that they're setting stuff up. I do believe that Jonathan Majors will be great at playing these different characters. It felt a little cartoony for me in the post credits, like it was a little too over the top for all the different ones that were hanging out together. But whatever,
there was a
it's
shot.
fine.
I saw someone did a comparison to the comic book that it came from, and it was
Shot
just
for
as
shot.
Yeah, it was pretty accurate.
It was shot for shot looks wise. I'm not knocking the looks. Like everything looked very comic accurate. I just felt like let's get to it. Let's get to that. How long do I have to wait for that? Is it another 2 years? 3 years? 4?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, like Ant-Man has always felt like just a minor character. Like it's just like a sub note. It was only important in the main phase to make the thing so he came back
they
and
give you the MacGuffin
the
end.
But I feel like in his own movie he actually mattered in the first movie. Like his first movie is an excellent movie. We just rewatched it a few weeks ago. And it's a great movie that ages well, and it really highlights all the Ant-Man-iness of Ant-Man, And yeah, when he shows up in the bigger crossover stuff, he's kind of the joke, right? He's the joke of them all.
Yeah.
But in his own story, he is the guy, right? Like he's really cool. I didn't feel he was cool in this movie. And I think that's what really bums me out the most, is because you go see a movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp, and neither Ant-Man nor the Wasp are really the coolest parts of the movie.
Did you notice Evangeline Lilly, like every scene she was in, like where there was standing dialogue, she always like started doing this pose.
You're ready to attack.
Every she was always, this was like, I was like, every single scene.
She's got trauma, I guess.
She's like, I'm like, all right.
Well, she literally only has like 3 scenes.
She has almost no scenes in that movie, and it's really weird because it's like it's called Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I was like, what is her arc? She has zero story in that movie. She's just surprised constantly that her mom is such a D-bag for not telling her anything. Like her entire role in that movie is to be surprised at her mom. It's weird. And do the action pose.
Do this.
Yeah.
But it would have been much better had they ended with the actual sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like
sure,
why?
For sure.
Why? That it ruined the movie. It didn't ruin the movie, but I was like, the ending was so unsatisfying. Like,
yeah.
Because it does that, all of a sudden they're back, and then he goes back to the intro scene where he's walking around, and it's like, all right, back
and then
to
he's
jokes.
Like, wait, did I save the universe?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
And it's like, is there more Kang to come? No, it's probably not. Like, I'm like, oh my god, movie, you're really like a comma for the giant story of the MCU. It's just like,
yeah, because usually like the number one is a big one, right? The number one will set the tone, but it failed to set the tone.
This is your Iron Man.
It didn't set the tone for this next phase, right? It just did a lot of introductions, but usually you gotta have the bang, though. It's the hook that draws you in to the.
I think it's also the character interactions that really sell it too, and I feel like that's what I was missing from this. Is like I didn't feel like this cast was really having fun with each other. And by the way, coincidentally, I found out that this was actually the first Ant-Man movie that was not co-written by Paul Rudd. And I think that shows. Like I think a lot of what brought, like, when I was really excited when I saw that Paul Rudd wrote the first movie with with Adam McKay, and like after Edgar Wright had left the project, it shows in that movie because they really have a lot of scenes that really like play to Paul
it's
Rudd's
definitely a good
strengths,
charm for sure.
right? Like his charm is endless. Like, and so I was missing that in this movie. I didn't feel like he was charming, with Cassie. I didn't feel like he was charming with Hope, and I didn't feel like he was even like on Kang's radar whenever they were in scenes together. Like they just felt like, can we just get done with this? Like I need to get my MacGuffin so that I can go kill a bunch of Kangs. And he didn't really care about Scott at all. And
No, I mean, pun intended. Like he was an ant to him. You know what I mean? Like Scott was a nothing. He's killed the Avengers before. He's killed Thor or whatever. Like what's Scott?
Yeah, that was. I think okay. I need to stop because I think if I keep going, I'm just gonna make myself sad.
We're going to the dark MCU place.
Yeah, I do not really enjoy this movie a lot. I think it's really far down on my list of MCU movies. I think the saving grace for me is that MODOK is so offensively bad looking that it just makes it so funny.
Comes back around.
It's so good.
It's so bad it's good. It's just
it's so bad it's good. It's so bad it's
like
good.
all those Netflix shows we were talking about earlier.
No, it's cyclical. Yes. That explains it all.
Yes. I showed the picture of MODOK to my wife because she opted out of going to the movies with me at the last minute when we saw the Rotten Tomatoes scores. She had me refund her ticket. She didn't want to go, right?
She refused.
I came home and I showed her the picture of MODOK. She said, she laughed out loud and said that would have been worth the 2 hours. And I think it's true because when I came out of that movie, the only thing I could think of was MODOK and how much I'm still thinking about that a week later. It's the only thing I care about that movie. So
it was the most unique thing about the movie.
It was, and he had a full arc, and he died a beautiful Avenger, and so cool.
We're like brothers.
But other than that, like I guess what I'm trying to say is, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give this one a 5. What about you guys?
I think I live in that 4 territory.
Yeah, I don't know if I have.
I feel like 5's a little generous.
Maybe 5 is generous.
I'd give it a 5. Like I was entertained. I didn't blow my mind. I wasn't like horribly disappointed. I didn't expect much just because it was an Ant-Man movie.
I didn't leave the theater.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're talking about 1 to 10 on the Marvel scale, right? Like,
yeah,
we're not
I
like
guess,
Schindler's List 10. Like,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a 5. It was it was entertaining enough.
Go see it for MODOK at the very least.
I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna watch it again when it comes out on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough sell for watching it again. All right, well there you go. That's our really long-winded review of this movie. After not seeing it for a week and trying to remember all the bits. If we missed stuff, please feel free to chime in the comments. By the way, thanks to Andy and Zach for joining us in the comments for the show. Zach, I can't confirm, but I believe the Fantastic Four does start the Phase 6. Is that right? Yeah, Ricky. Sorry to
see that's a setup for a dynamic start. Like Fantastic Four has so much that it can do that you can really.
Oh, the sky's the limit with Fantastic Four.
Yeah, for sure.
But if that's the start, right? Like a minor character like Ant-Man as the start of the phase, like it's just like a little firecracker.
You went away for a minute on the show earlier when I was talking about it, but just to be clear, Kang, his real name is Nathaniel Richards, aka Reed Richards. He is related to Reed. Depending on how you look at it, he's been his father at times, or he is like in timelines, or he is full circle. His great grandson 80 billion times removed, or something like that. So we are seeing the slight glimpses of a tease at Fantastic Four already happening right now.
Right. But I'm saying
Yeah.
like Fantastic Four is a major staple of Marvel. Like that's going to start with a bang, right? Like it's like starting with X-Men or a big name versus like Ant-Man as the start of a phase, you know? It's like like
I feel you. But I want to just say thanks for hanging out with us to talk about this. I don't want to keep you talking about this any longer on this show. You can do it more if you want in the soapbox coming up next. Thanks to Ricky as well for joining us for this. Thanks to our patrons for supporting our growth. And if you had fun, please remember to like and subscribe. And you can check us out on Patreon for our after show, the soapbox, starting moments from now. I don't know that we're going to be having a live show next week because I believe The Mandalorian comes back. And so Ricky and I are in talks to do our pre-recorded show. We Have Spoken, the
March
Mandalorian
1st.
podcast.
Mando's back.
Isn't he in Colorado or Wyoming right now? Like what? How is he?
I think it's going to end right after, or it's going to start right after The Last of Us ends.
Yeah,
right.
It's like right after. There's only 2 more episodes, Last of Us.
Yeah, I think so. But anyways, if you got anything to add, do it right now because I'm going to sign us off.
This was not the Last of Us episode 3 of the Marvel MCU.
So true. All right, you got anything, Ricky?
No.
Okay, guys. See you next time on Den Excelsior, True Believers. Enough said.
Bye, guys.